In Money Watch, young voters paved the way for President Biden's path to the White House in 2020.
That's right, but now Democrats are growing concerned the president's lack of action to erase student loan debt could cost the party votes in the midterm elections. Before the 2020 election, then candidate Biden campaigned that he would forgive up to $10,000 in student debt for every borrower in the U.S. Now, more than a year into his term, the president has failed to make good on that campaign promise.
More than 43 million people are burdened by student loan debt nationwide. In total, it accounts for more than $1.7 trillion in unpaid loans. Joining us now for more on this is John King. He is the former education secretary under President Obama.
Welcome, Secretary King. Great to have you with us. So you are the first former Secretary of Education to call for broad student loan debt cancellation. Why are you breaking away from your peers to call on President Biden to use his executive authority to unilaterally cancel student debt payments?
Well, I think we're at an important moment as a country as we emerge from the COVID crisis and the COVID economic crisis. We have an opportunity to tackle deeper systemic challenges. And the reality is that over the last 40 years, the federal government and state governments have not invested enough in higher education. Back in 1980, the federal program, the Pell Grant program, covered about 80% of the cost of college. Today, it's less than a third. And so we've got to make up for that policy mistake of the last 40 years by addressing the crushing burden of student debt that so many young people feel today and fixing the problem going forward by committing to debt-free college in the United States.
Secretary King, by the way, thanks for pushing this forward. As Tanya and I both have been, paid student debt in the past. President Biden made it a campaign pledge to approve up to $10,000 in student loans for every federal borrower in the U.S. Why hasn't that promise been fulfilled? And can the Biden administration afford to do more?
Well, certainly, I appreciate that the president is juggling a lot. Biden administration is trying to grapple with getting us out of COVID. They're obviously grappling with the crisis in Ukraine. They've postponed payments on student debt, which is quite helpful. But that postponement ends May 1st, and there's some indication that they may delay further. That's helpful. But in the end, we know folks are making the choice to delay buying a house, having a child, starting a business because of the weight of student debt. The president has the executive authority to cancel debt for all borrowers. He talked about $10,000 during the campaign. Senator Schumer and Senator Warren have talked about $50,000 per borrower. That certainly would be a good start. That would get us to 36 million Americans completely relieved of their federal student loan debt. So I'm hopeful that we will see action from the president.
And Secretary King, has the coronavirus pandemic shifted in any way the way you view student debt?
Yeah, look, in the Obama administration, we put in place a process for canceling student debt, and we started with those students who were taken advantage of by predatory for-profit colleges. We also put in place income-based repayment to help cap the amount of someone's income they would have to pay towards their debt. And frankly, given the COVID economic crisis, that's not enough. We need more help from the federal government. And this is a way that we could really accelerate our economic recovery if President Biden would come forward now and cancel debt for all borrowers.
Secretary King, some say retroactively canceling student debt without solving the issue poses a problem moving forward. What is your position on this? And what actions do you propose the Biden administration take to eliminate student debt entirely in the future?
Yeah, I totally appreciate the concern about solving the problem retrospectively, but then the challenge going forward. And we really do need to solve the challenge going forward. There are a couple of things that I would love to see President Biden and Congress do together. One is to make community college and the first 2 years at our historically Black colleges and universities tuition free. That'd be a very helpful step. And then second, to at least double the Pell Grant program so that then you would be in a place where with federal assistance, college at public higher ed institutions could be closer to debt free. That would be an important set of steps. Ultimately, we should see higher education as a public good. It's good for everyone in the country if students have the opportunity to get a college degree. It makes them better prepared for the 21st century economy, helps prepare them for citizenship. Just as we see K-12 education as a public good, we should view public higher education as a shared responsibility.
All right. Well, former U.S. Secretary of Education John King, we thank you for your time. We should also mention, as is evident by the signs behind you, you're a candidate running for governor of Maryland as well. So good luck to you on that race.
Thanks so much.
Thank you again.